Today, we're going to explore a personality type that a lot of us find, well, fascinating. That person who seems completely and genuinely content on their own. And no, this isn't about being lonely. It's about a really unique kind of inner strength. So let's get into the psychology of those who walk the solo path.
Seriously, have you ever met someone like this? Their social calendar isn't exactly bursting at the seams, and they don't have this huge, sprawling circle of friends. It's just them, and they're okay with it. There's this quiet confidence there that's super intriguing and, let's be real, a little confusing in our hyper-connected world. So what is really going on there? I mean, our first instinct might be to think, oh, something's wrong. They must be lonely, or maybe they have social anxiety. But, psychology tells a totally different story. It's a story of strength, of independence, and yeah, a pretty rare personality type. Today, we're going to unpack that reality. Okay, let's start with the first two traits, which are really all about navigating this rich inner world they have. This isn't about shutting people out, it's about being incredibly skilled at managing what's going on inside, right? So let's be super clear. This isn't about hiding from the world. It's about actively choosing solitude to recharge their batteries. Our culture is always screaming that a busy social life equals success, right? Well, for these people, quiet is where they find their fuel. It's that simple.
And this right here just perfectly nails the core of that independence. It's this profound self-sufficiency. I mean, can you imagine feeling so comfortable with yourself that your own thoughts are just as engaging as any party? It allows them to build a life totally on their own terms, free from all those draining social obligations. Okay, so here's a fascinating little paradox for you. The people who spend less time in the middle of social circles often become the best observers of them. They develop what some call social fluency, this knack for picking up on tiny cues and emotional undercurrents that most of us just miss in all the noise.
Think about that for a second. It's a kind of strength that doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need likes or validation. They can sense the real story behind a fake smile or the tension in a quiet room. Process it all, and just navigate the world with this incredible insight, all without needing to explain themselves to anyone.
All right, so let's move on to our next section and see how this all builds. These next two traits are all about a powerful sense of integrity and a real commitment to quality in pretty much every part of their life. This next trait is just fundamental. These are the people who will not fake a laugh at a bad joke. They won't just nod along to pointless small talk. And it's so important to get this. It's not arrogance, not at all. It's just a deep, deep commitment to being real, which, naturally filters out all the superficial stuff. I love this metaphor of the lone tree. It's perfect. It really represents a strength that comes from being so deeply rooted in who you are. It doesn't just bend to every little social wind that blows by. It stands firm. So when they do make connections, you better believe they're genuine and incredibly strong. Okay, this one shows up as incredibly high standards, but mostly for themselves. The thought of a half-finished project? Unthinkable. A vague plan? No way. It gets refined until it's perfect. And this precision, it actually extends to their social lives, which makes them super selective about where and with whom they invest their precious energy. I just love this reframe. It's not about being snobby or thinking they're better than everyone. It's a strategic choice. They're literally protecting their energy and their ideals, choosing to pour themselves into things that actually matter, instead of spreading themselves thin on a bunch of good enough interactions. And that brings us to our final trait. And this one might be the most complex of them all. This is about the careful, really deliberate way these individuals handle vulnerability and trust. Now, pay close attention to that word, gentle. This isn't some cynical, bitter wall they've built to keep the world out. It's more of a cautiousness that comes from wisdom, from experience. They just get that true connection is rare, so they don't offer up the deepest parts of themselves to just anyone. It's a privilege, and it has to be earned. This is such a powerful image, right? Inside, their inner world is lush and vibrant and beautiful, but it's protected. They will only open that gate to people who have proven they won't just trample all over the flowers, people who have shown they're actually worthy of that trust. So what happens when you do earn that trust? Well, it leads to something incredibly profound. Their caution isn't a weakness. It's the foundation for fierce loyalty. Once you're welcomed into that inner sanctum, you're not just a friend, you're family. There are absolutely no half measures.
So what's the big picture here? When we put all this together, what do we really take away from understanding these 5 rare traits? Well, it kind of boils down to a powerful redefinition of what it even means to be strong. This right here, this is the key insight. The very things that society might label as flaws, being reserved or selective or too independent, are actually highly effective filters. They are tools for carving out space for depth and meaning and authenticity in a world that, let's face it, often feels pretty shallow. So if any of this has been resonating with you, I really want you to let this sink in. Choosing a path with a little more solitude isn't some sign of failure. It's often the very beginning of a journey toward a stronger, more authentic, and way more peaceful version of yourself. And ultimately, isn't this what it's all about? In this noisy world that demands we're always on, always performing, finding and protecting your own inner peace is the ultimate achievement. That tranquility, that quiet confidence, that is real power. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. When you consider that quiet independence, the deep emotional literacy, unwavering authenticity, that precision, and that gentle guardedness, which one of those feels the most like you? Thanks for digging into this with me today.